Hey there everybody, welcome to a new episode of the vlog. Today I'm going to make, at long last, another new episode of my KISSTORY series. For those of you who are VEDSies or are following me because of VEDS, it's a series I've been doing on this channel. I've made like a dozen videos or something. I forget what episode of this series it is, but when I last left off talking about the history of KISS, I was talking about the end of the Hot in the Shade tour, which terminated with an awesome Madison Square Garden show in November of 1990. As usual, after that tour, KISS took a little bit of a break, went their separate ways, chilled out, and maybe wrote a few new songs. And the plan was to reconvene in the spring to work on some new music. Particularly, they had a song that they wanted to record for the new Bill and Ted movie. They recorded a cover of the Argent song God Gave Rock and Roll to You with some new lyrics, and they called it God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too, but all was not going well in Kissland. In the early months of 1991, longtime drummer Eric Carr began to have chest pains, and he went to a hospital to try to figure out what was going wrong. And they discovered that he had a really rare form of heart cancer. Yes, he had cancer in his heart, and that's very unusual. And they told him he needed open heart surgery ASAP, and he did get that done in April.
This is rock drummer Eric Carr talking to you 3 days after open heart surgery. Back to kick your asses again as soon as I can. I can't wait to get back and play drums, man. Because this sucks.
It was a pretty successful surgery, but the cancer had spread a little bit, so they needed to do chemotherapy, so he was out for the count. He was able, apparently, to get into the studio to record some backup vocals for God Gave Rock and Roll to You, but not to drum. They hired drummer Eric Singer to come in and drum on that record. Eric Singer had previously drummed on Paul Stanley's solo tour of 1989. Throughout Eric Carr's illness, KISS continued to enter the studio with Eric Singer and continued to record work on a new album. They had hired producer Bob Ezrin to come in and work with them. Bob Ezrin, of course, produced KISS's epic 1976 album Destroyer, which is their highest selling album of all time. And then he also did produce the debacle that was Music from the Elder, which was one of their lowest selling albums of all time. I don't know the actual sales figures, but it was highly disappointing. But he came back. KISS wanted to make a classic KISS album. KISS wanted to make a harder edge album, but while Eric Carr was recovering in hospital, he was growing increasingly concerned that KISS was plotting to replace him. And they kind of were. It's kind of a shame. It's a little bit heartless that KISS was not prepared to take that year off and wait for their drummer of 11 years to get better. They were going full steam ahead. They were going to keep on going no matter what. And that's kind of the KISS story. They've always wanted to keep going no matter what. That's always been what they've said, but sometimes it comes off as a little bit heartless. Now, by the summer of 1991, Eric Carr was declared cancer-free and became well enough to appear in the music video for God Gave Rock and Roll to You. And then after that, in September, KISS appeared on the MTV Video Awards I don't even know why. I haven't actually seen the clip. I've tried so hard to find that clip. If you guys can find that clip of KISS at the MTV Awards in September of 1991, I'd love to find that, because Eric Carr joined them for that ceremony, and then, unfortunately, 2 days later, he had a brain hemorrhage. I guess his body was so weakened from fighting cancer, and he wound up back in the ICU, tried to recover for a couple of months, and then in November, he had a second brain hemorrhage and died at the age of 41.
KISS drummer Eric Carr died of cancer at age 41 in a New York hospital. Last May, Carr was diagnosed with a heart tumor, which ultimately spread to his lungs. His last public appearance was at the 1991 MTV Video Music Awards in September. 2 days later, Carr suffered a brain hemorrhage and had been hospitalized ever since. Carr replaced original KISS drummer Peter Criss in 1979 and had been recording with KISS until a few months ago. The band ultimately hired one-time Cult drummer Eric Singer to replace Carr.
Eric was a fan favorite amongst KISS fans. Yeah, he'd been in the group for 11 years. Even though he wasn't KISS's original drummer, he still, he meant so much to that band, and he meant so much to the fans. Just an all-around great guy, and it was such a horrible thing to lose him. Eric died on November 24th, 1991. If you are a rock and roll history buff like myself, you may know that date. It's because that is also the day that we lost Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury, of course, the iconic legend of Queen. And this meant that Eric Carr's death received almost no publicity, but that's okay. I mean, what a day for rock. Unbelievable. KISS forged on ahead and named Eric Singer, who had already been working extensively on their next album, as their permanent new drummer. And in the spring/summer of 1992, this album came out, Revenge. This album is awesome. It might be it's definitely one of my favorite KISS studio albums. Oh man, it's definitely in my top 3. It's just so great. It's a shame that the circumstances around it are so murky, but the album, like I said, amazing. Eric Carr, I don't know if this is a major thing, but he is the first blonde member of KISS. Yeah, he plays drums on that. Eric Carr is featured on the backing vocals for God Gave Rock and Roll to You, as I mentioned before. And then also the album ends with a song called Car Jam 1981. That was a jam between Ace Frehley and Eric Carr during the rehearsals and sessions for the music from the Elder album, on a song called Breakout that was not used on that album, and that Ace Frehley, who wrote that song, would actually go on to include in his 1987 Frehley's Comet album. I always thought it was weird. So the original jam that recording is taken from was between Eric Carr and Ace Frehley. They, on a song written by Ace, and they overdubbed all of Ace's guitar parts with Bruce Kulick. Why? I don't know. And they actually didn't give Ace... They gave the full songwriting credit to Eric Carr, which is an excellent gesture, because that means the money goes to his estate, and I'm sure Ace was happy with that. But Ace gets no songwriting credit, and they dubbed over his parts on a song that he wrote. Neither here nor there. Like I said, excellent gesture to have the money go to Eric's family. Also, in the wake of the release of this Revenge album, KISS put out this extreme close-up long-form video, which is just like a 90-minute little documentary on the history of the band up to that point. I really actually enjoy this. Yeah, got a lot of classic clips on there, as well as some of the new music videos for the Revenge album. In May, June, I believe, of 1992, KISS started the Revenge tour with... Well, first they started it with some club dates in April, I think, in North America. Some tiny little club dates to sort of be the first, sort of the warm-up gigs for the excellent Bruce Kulick, Eric Singer lineup of KISS. God, they're great. Then in May, June, they started to do some bigger scale gigs in Europe. They took the old Sphinx stage that they'd used for the 1990 Hot in the Shade tour and brought it out again. And I just love that stage. It's so awesome. Then in the summer, they were supposed to go out on tour in North America. And then due to logistical problems or lack of ticket sales or something in between, that entire tour got canceled and then moved back to the winter. That tour did eventually happen. They made a whole brand new stage setup for that tour. The first stage setup they'd ever really had that didn't feature a light up KISS logo in the backdrop. And that's just some minutia for you. That 3-month tour was so awesome. There's so many excellent recordings from that tour. The band was on fire. They sounded great. The new songs from Revenge sounded amazing live, but it was not very successful financially. I believe they had something like 1 sellout on that whole tour. Maybe not even. And KISS was starting to come to terms with the fact that they might not be a band that was able to sell out or even play full-size arena gigs going forwards unless they made a drastic change before, and spoiler alert, before the end of the decade, they sure did. But yeah, like I said, the tour was awesome, and they took some recordings from that tour and made a really kick-ass live album, Kiss Alive 3, from those sessions. I always thought it was a shame that Eric Carr never got to be featured on an Alive album, but man, is Kiss Alive 3 awesome. I play it all the time. Again, KISS just absolutely on fire, and there's an excellent mix of classic songs and, at the time, new songs on that one. And then, yeah, they put out a video cassette for that as well called Confidential, which has several songs from the Detroit show at the Palace of Auburn Hills on the Revenge tour, and also I think some other clips from Indianapolis, I believe, as well. And then they threw in some classic 70s clips for good measure on there. Anyway, that tour ended in December, around Christmas time of 1992. And then after that, the Kiss Alive 3 and Confidential videos came out in 1993, and the band was really not sure what to do next. They really didn't want to put a whole bunch of money into another album and tour because the last one hadn't been very successful. They were trying to decide. This new lineup of the band was really getting along really well, but for some reason it just wasn't. KISS fans were loving it, but the general public was just not latching onto this lineup for some reason, and not packing the houses when they came to play. So they had a lot of decisions to be made over what to do in the years going forward, and they sure did. And I'm going to cover that in the next video of KISSTORY. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I guess I dedicate this episode to the memory of the late great Eric Carr, amazing KISS drummer, the Fox himself. Joined KISS in 1980. And saw them through the lean years of the 80s and early 90s through to 1991. Excellent drummer, excellent backup vocalist, just all around great dude. Thanks so much for watching. For those of you who don't know, I am a musician myself, and you can find some links to my music in the description. I am also Paul Stanley in BC's premier KISS tribute band, Alive and Kissin'. Just had my debut show with that band. Had such an amazing time. I'm so thrilled to be a part of this project and sort of share my love of KISS with the world. Thanks so much for watching. Also in the description are links to the wonderful channels from my fellow VEDSies who are also making a video every day in September, as I will be. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you tomorrow and all of the last remaining days of this month. Thank you so much for watching.